Hello. Hello.
You can say hi. You can say
Hi. Welcome back. From the forums, we had a question from Dr. Magoo. What financial statements do you consider the most important when analyzing the company, and what ratios, metrics do you use most? Wow. I mean, it's such a complicated question. I guess that's like asking me what I like about my wife, you know? And the answer, honey, is everything. I mean, most important is, do they make money? Next, so income statement. Next most important is, do they have enough cash to do whatever they have to do? So the balance sheet. Next most important is, do they use their cash wisely? So cash flow statement. That's pretty much it for the financial statements, by the way. So, you know, they're all important. I mean, like, it depends on the company. If you have a company that has no cash and has grand aspirations to expand, then that's a problem. So let's just pretend company XYZ generates $100 million a year in profit, has no cash, and says, and we're gonna spend $200 million a year building our business. That's a problem. They generate profit, so they're great, but they don't have any money, and they're gonna spend $200 million. If you earn $100 million, spend $200 million, that's a problem. You go out of business. So what they have to do to spend $200 million is borrow money, and if they keep making $100 million and every year they borrow $200 million, you know, or $100 million extra, spend all their profits, they're gonna go out of business. So that's not a good company. So it depends. What ratios, metrics do I use the most? I think this sounds like a finance student asking a question, thinking, okay, I just learned all this stuff, so now I want to know what's important. The truth is, the most important thing in being a stock market analyst is understanding how the businesses work and identifying trends that will make a business ever more profitable than people expect, or less profitable than people expect. So stocks go up or down because the company beats expectations or misses expectations. If the stock market were perfectly efficient and if everybody had all perfect information, and they don't, everybody has the same information, but they don't have perfect information because we don't actually know what's going to happen. So stocks go up and down because people, you know, one person thinks that it's going to go up, so they buy it. The other person thinks it's going to go down, so they sell it. My value is in having an understanding of the industry that these companies operate in, understanding their competitive position, understanding and articulating the things that they're going to do in the future that will make them outperform or underperform the industry, and then having a recommendation on whether you should buy or sell the stock. Most investors don't care what my recommendation is. They care how the industry works and how I think things are going to go. So I'll give you an example. I had a conversation today about this. I had an investor ask me about Zynga as an investment. He wanted to know how much cost could they cut and what could they do to get their revenues to grow again. And in a 45-minute conversation, I talked about how much cost they could cut, and I went through in great detail where I thought they could cut costs. Not that they will, but that I think they could, and why I think Don Matrick as CEO might do that, but I think it would take 2 or 3 quarters to see it. And then on the revenue side, I said, I have no idea how they're going to grow revenue. I know the genres where the most revenue is generated in free-to-play, and they're only in one of them in any big way. So they need to be in player versus player, and they need to be in player versus environment to a greater extent. That's PvE is Candy Crush, and PvP is Clash of Clans. And when they get in those categories, they have a chance of competing for that share. But I have no opinion about whether they're going to execute because I don't know what the games are. And until I see the games, I don't know. So my value add was I didn't pound the table and say buy Zynga because I know Don has the right games lined up and he's going to release them and Zynga's revenues are going to double, because I don't know that. What I do know is Don's a smart guy. He's got a lot of smart people working for him, some pretty damn good game developers, Steve Chang, and maybe they'll get a couple of games right. I don't know the answer. So people pay me to give them context, and I'm really good at that, and I don't need to be right. So NeoGaf, I'm never right. It doesn't matter. I'm really good at context. Bastards. Okay, from the forums, we got a question from Amaka Kweru. Hi, Mr. Pac-Man. Do you think that pursuing a degree in gaming is a good return of investment? Thanks. I suppose it depends on what you want to do. If you want my job, no. If you want the jobs of anybody in this room, no. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, probably not. So the answer is, if you want to be a game developer, sure. It cannot hurt you to get educated. Most developers don't have a degree in gaming because it's a relatively recent, phenomenon, probably the last 10 or 12 years that you've even had the ability to earn one. When I say 10 or 12 years, that means there's a lot of 30-year-olds out there who have a degree, and it's an increasing percentage of the development pool. But, I think people who get art or who get programming are able to be game developers. I know game developers who do neither art nor writing code. They're producers, and they actually just kind of get how it all fits together and they make it happen. So there's jobs in the gaming world. There are certainly finance and marketing jobs in the gaming world and PR jobs. So you can work in the gaming industry, but if you want to be a developer, sure. If that's what you are going to be, then yes, it's a good degree to get. It's like if you want to be a lawyer, you probably should get a law degree because you can't be one without it. So yeah, good return. I can't tell you that I would ever recommend that anybody become a game developer because in my meager experience, 13 or 14 years of doing this, I've seen a lot more out of work than I've seen successful ones, and it's just a tough business. I mean, there are fewer and fewer and fewer studios as we're pumping out more and more and more qualified people. That's good for game quality. It's not good for game developers. I mean, the rich get richer, obviously, but there's a lot of guys who struggle, and they're all finding, making a living, making mobile games. I would imagine the average mobile game, tablet game developer is only making $40,000-$50,000, which is a living wage. You absolutely can pay rent, and you can eat chicken and pickles if that's what you need. But you're not going to drive, a Tesla, and you're not going to be able to go to Vegas and gamble, and you're not going to be able to do other things. So if you want to make a lot of money, then that degree is probably not the right one. If you have a passion for game design and that's what you want to do, it's exactly the right thing. And I only answered this make a lot of money thing because the wording of your question, is it a good return on investment? It's not going to be the best return. I read an interesting article because I have a law degree and an MBA, and I read this article about 10 years ago, and it was a salary survey on professional degrees, and the most valuable degree out of a medical, MD, doctor, lawyer, MBA, and then PhD in anything. The most valuable degree, MBA. MBAs earn back their investment in their education faster than anybody. And anecdotally, I'll tell you, I have a cousin who just retired, who was a plastic surgeon, graduated from college at 21, never missed a day of med school. Like, he never took a break, but he had to train to be a plastic surgeon. So from 21 until he practiced, 15 years of education after college to become a plastic surgeon. He just retired, he's 60, so he had 24 years of earning, and he had 15 plus college. He had 19 years of school to earn for 24. That's why. You go to an MBA, it's 6 years of education, and you work for 35 years, so you make a better return. So the answer on return on investment is get the degree that will make you the most money in the shortest period of time. And the real way to make the most money is either be incredibly handsome and talented like me and get a show on GameTrailers because they pay me oodles, or start your own business. Come up with something, invent Twitter. Those guys are doing pretty good. Okay, got another question from the forum from Billy Bogus. That's you. That's your code name, Billy Bogus. Mr. Pachter, do you think the PS4's Facebook integration could become one of its most important distinguishing features? Gamer tags seem like a big hurdle for casual gamers, and when you look at all the apps and mobile games that have taken off thanks to Facebook's easy connectivity, I can't help but think it'll become an instrumental feature on Sony's platform. Why hasn't this been part of the conversation so far? The answer, I think, is that you're in the minority. I don't think it's bad. And I agree with you that it's going to be helpful to some people who want to connect that way. Facebook integration really doesn't help unless there's a feature in the game that requires you to deal with other people. So I'll tell you, Candy Crush, super successful with Facebook integration because the key to Candy Crush is you run out of these stupid lives. So you play a level and it might take you 50 lives to get through the level, and I've played levels that have taken me more than that. And you run out of lives, I think they refresh every 30 minutes. So you get 5 lives, but then you have to, when you burn through them, you have to wait 2.5 hours to get 5 more lives. Now obviously Candy Crush wants you that to happen, so you spend money on lives. But the way to get extra lives is have a lot of Facebook friends playing the game. And it's very clever because you send lives to the 5 top ranked people on every level. And so every time I log into Candy Crush, and we could roll the camera and I could show you, I have 4 or 5 lives waiting for me because I'm at level 242 and I am in the top 5 on probably 50 of those levels, and I've got probably 300 friends who are still playing Candy Crush. So it's awesome because I get lives. I disappeared one day, one weekend day, told my wife, I'm gonna go play Candy Crush. And I literally spend 30 cents every time I get to the stupid train station, so I don't have to spam people. So I spent like $2 on the game. But I left and I said, I'm gonna play my 5 lives on Candy Crush. And I was gone for 2 hours. And my wife walked up to where I was playing on PC and she goes, how are you still playing that game? And I said, oh, I just refreshed the screen and I got like 5 new lives during the thing twice. And I completed like 15 levels. I mean, I just had a good run, I was doing everything right. So the Facebook integration is really cool for something like that. What do you play on the PS4 where you have that similar type of setup? There's nothing. You're not getting more lives. You respawn. Every life is free. It's part of the game experience. You already bought the lives and you paid the $60 for the game. So you don't really need your friends. Yes, I understand about achievements and competitive, things where you want to have a higher score than your friend on a level or whatever. I get that. But you don't need Facebook integration for that, and it's going to be difficult, I think, for Facebook integration to work in multiplayer. I suppose it could, but you kind of got to take the console and it's got to be on the PlayStation Network server and on the Facebook server at once. I don't think that's going to integrate well at all. I mean, I get it. I get that you can post your achievements through Facebook integration. That's fine. I don't think most people care. And I say most. I'm not saying 99% don't care. I'm saying 80% don't care. And I actually don't think it's a more casual thing. I think it's a more hardcore thing for the people who care. So I'd say it's not important, and that's why it's not part of the conversation. Hope that was responsive. If you have a question for me, you can submit it to the link below. If you'd like to ask me a question on Twitter, send it to @MichaelPachter, copy @GameTrailers, and apply the hashtag AskPack. And we will answer every question we can get to. I will send you a direct message and answer your question directly if you follow me on Twitter @MichaelPachter. Thanks very much for joining us. You crack me up. Do you actually say, I'd say hello when I answer the phone. Do you say hello
I think I said hello to you
people
this morning, yeah.
on the phone?
When I walked in, I said hello.
Who said hello? You?
Me. I said hello.
That must be a Binghamton, New York kind of thing. Hello, from a place as far away from Binghamton as you can get in the United States. And the Binghamton people have a 607 area code. Who would have thought that? I thought that was Wyoming, which is 707, but who knew that? I saw that area code. I thought it was a Wyoming person. I'm like, why is there a Wyoming guy in our coffee shop? And who does he think I am? So hello. And you can actually run this as an outtake. So you know Rob Manuel, right?
Yeah.
So Rob Manuel, just is so eager to please. I love the guy, but he's pretty lame, but he's eager to please. So he gives me instructions for bonus round yesterday. And it's like, if you're driving, park in this parking lot that's on the back ass side of the convention center, about as far away as you can possibly get. And I'll have a production assistant at the driveway to meet you. So I write back and I go, walking from the other side. So for me to walk past the convention center and all the way to the back end side is, quarter of a mile, half a mile. It's not a tiny walk. And just to have to walk all the way back, I go, how about if you just have somebody meet me in front of the convention center, because that's where I'm going to be. And the convention center is a big place. How about telling me which hall and which door? So he's like, okay, I'll have a production assistant meet you in front, no problem. So he's totally responsive. Here's my phone number, text me when you get close. So I get close, I click on the phone number in the email, right? Pretty easy, like I don't have to type anything in. It says call this number, send a text message. I click on send a text message, and I think, okay, Rob might not know my cell phone number, so I write Pachter here in front of West Hall main entrance. And about 30 seconds later, I get a response, 4 question marks. So I write back and I go, how are you going to run this as an outtake when you walk in front of the camera, you doofus?
Oh, right.
You're going to run this.
Well, he's perfecting everything.
That's okay. I want it. I want it with Mike walking in front of the camera. We got to have it right.
Yeah.
So I text back and I go, I'm guessing this number isn't Rob Manuel. And the guy writes back, or guy or woman, correct, wrong number. Really, and that was nice, because I delete, messages, but sometimes I say wrong number. But, so I get to the shoot, and I go to Rob, and I go, you sent me the wrong number. No, 871 whatever. And I'm like, 817. He goes, no, you must have typed it in wrong. And I'm like, no, dude, I pressed on it, and I don't think Apple iOS transposes numbers. Like, yeah, doofus. So the PA still met me, and everything was cool. Some guy who looks like he wants to be you in 2 years when he's 24.
Hubert.
Was that his name? Little tiny guy?
Mike Hubert.
There you go. You just keep walking in front of that camera.